Hello, hello, hello. Welcome to the Decentralized Masters podcast. I am Tristan and I'm with my co host, John. We go over the hottest topics in all of DeFi every single week right here on our YouTube channel, as well as Twitch, Facebook, and X.com. What is going on, John? How is crypto markets today and this
Talk
week?
about crypto. Crypto's been a little hectic, a lot of ups and downs. What has to be expected? I mean, we were expecting this big bull run, and it seems like we've been getting quite the opposite, which is very unfortunate. But overall, we are seeing still some very positive things. And I was actually talking to our community a few days ago that that we are more than likely probably going to see some upward momentum coming in with both the stock market and crypto. And there's still some hope, some possibility that we are not in a bear market, but of course, time will tell. And also, remember, FOMC meeting's coming up next week. So I'm really curious to see what your thoughts are there.
Yeah, that's a good question. And I guess we could look at Polymarket. Have you looked at Polymarket recently, John, to see what kind
I
of the
have
odds are right now?
not. I have
All
not. What's
right.
going on with the poly market? Let's hear it out.
Let's see. Let's see. So I'll just share that. I think at the moment, last time I looked, it was a pretty solid chance that we see a rate cut coming here into December. And as you can see here, yeah, 92% chance that we get a rate cut in December. It wasn't too long ago, though, that it was about 50-50. 50-50 chance that it just kind of stayed the same. But it looks like we have absolutely swung to the upside here that the rate cut will indeed happen to December. So interesting. But what could be more interesting here is seeing what happens in January. So January as well, we have a 25 basis point. The 25 basis point cut for January isn't as popular. Only a 27% chance for it at the moment, while 71% of people are saying that we are going to have a no change in January. So we're going to get this one here in December. That's probably in the bag, or as close as it can be to that. But January, not so very different story playing out then.
That's do you think we'll get a rate cut in January too as well?
My opinion, probably not. It's a little far. It's a little far out to make that decision. Jerome Powell, probably not. He is. We've been talking about it a little bit here at Decentralized Masters of where his political bias lies, and if that political bias is affecting his ability to do a rate cut here. So I'm not 100% certain that we will get a rate cut in January. I am looking forward into the spring, though. So we are going to have, Jerome Powell is going to be relieved of his duty come May, and Trump will replace him with a new chairman of the Fed. I am of the opinion that that new chairman will be a lot softer on rates and more willing of the Trump agenda than Jerome Powell is. And also that plays into midterm elections as well, as they're going to try and juice the economy as much as they possibly can right before those midterm elections. So I think we're going to have a very as you would say, positive rate cutting cycle going forward into 2026. However, we might see a little bit of a stop or a little bit of a break in that right until Jerome Powell has finished his term.
So I want to ask you, so with the Fed rate cut coming in December, what can we really expect for the market? Are we expecting a big major reaction? Is it going to be something small like it has been these last few months? And what do you personally think we need to go ahead and see in order for these markets to react positively?
Yeah, well, for the most part, I think we're actually not going to have too much going on. This one's kind of baked in, as you can see on Polymarket, 92% chance that this is going to happen. The market has probably baked this in already. Maybe that plays into the relief rally that we're kind of seeing at the moment. Bitcoin did absolutely drop. We dropped to like 85 at the lowest quite recently. And then it has now rebounded. I think we're at 93 last time I looked. So I think there might be a little bit of people playing ahead. They've already kind of assumed that this rate cut's going to happen. So that's why we have recovered here. But will be interesting to see when this rate cut goes through, assuming it does happen. Nothing is guaranteed. What will happen from there? Because the last rate cut we had, the market actually started tanking. Like, although rate cuts are generally positive for crypto and risk assets, last rate cut we had, market actually just started absolutely tanking. So it will be interesting to see on this one.
Yeah. So if we do see a major rate cut, do you think the market is going to rally, or as you just mentioned, since it's already priced in, we shouldn't really expect much?
Yeah, I'm thinking neutral at best. I think a lot of people have front run this, and a lot of it is priced in already. What's going to be more interesting in January, though, come the new year, because at the moment there's a huge amount of people saying that there's not even going to be a change there. So if there's any news that maybe inflation comes in lower or the jobs data is bad, that kind of information will play a big role into the Fed's decision, and that would be market moving because it's not something that the market can expect as well as rate cuts.
Yeah, that's really interesting. I mean, what are your thoughts? Do you think we really are in this on this bear market that we a lot of us do think we're really in? Do you really think this is going to go through, or do you think this is just what we commonly see in previous markets, where we always see a big dump before a big rally, like we have been seeing in the past? Which I'll share my charts in a little bit, or even if you could share them, that'd be great. But well, what are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, so I'll give you a little bit of my chart here. I'm going to focus on the bigger picture, so your chart might be better if you're looking at more short term, which would be good. But what I'm seeing here now in Bitcoin is it looks like we are in a bit of a downward channel here. Right now, it's very critical because we could, push out of this channel right here with that blue circle there. If we push out of that channel and we're breaking above, we're going to 94, 95. That could signal a bullish trend. So that would be breaking out of this bearish one that we seem to be in now. However, we are absolutely not out of the woods. We could definitely pull back. It could definitely pull back to 77,000. That is where I have identified the next support. And then, let's see if with that, I think we'll have another kind of bounce there. It could bounce up to, 83, 84, 85. And then, we could essentially pull back as deep here if it is a bear market to as low as 60,000. I don't think we would break 60,000, and I'll explain why here. If you zoom out, I know we all say in crypto, just zoom out. It's true, just zoom out. And you can see here that the long-term trend of Bitcoin is largely bullish. Like, there has been a bullish uptrend in Bitcoin all the way since 2017. So you had like the 2019 dump, and then you had the 2021 rally, and then you had the 2022 dump, 20/2023, and now we have our little rally here. And as you can see here, it doesn't almost look like, it looks like we have a lot more room to go up still. We didn't go nearly as high as we had in the past in this uptrend, so maybe we do go up. Like, I'm very mixed bag at the moment. But I don't think we will go so low that it breaks out of this bullish secular trend, like a more long-term trend for Bitcoin. Then, it's very, very unlikely that we break below that unless there's something fundamentally wrong with Bitcoin. But that's just kind of seeing how I'm seeing things in the grand scheme of things, very long-term.
So, where do you think Bitcoin would really go to if we are in this bear market? Do you think we're going to see that big correction as we've seen in the past, or do you think we're going to be having a light correction because everyone likes to say institutions finally here, and it might not crash as much as it used to, but I don't know. I'm a little bit concerned because I feel like ever since the institutions have been in here, it feels like everything, the 4-year cycle, every trend has pretty much broken. Like it no longer really follows through, and it seems to follow through whatever it wants to follow, which is very interesting
Yeah.
to see.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I agree. Like everyone's always like, oh, the institutional money is here. That means that things will be more stable. And like, it hasn't proven to be that way. The institutions would love to get a deal. So they're okay with pushing the market down. Where do I think as low as we could go? Well, I think the absolute bottom that we could possibly see would be like around 60 to 65,000. That's just based on the long-term uptrend. I think we'll hit a support at 77, kind of 77, 75, 76. We'll see what happens there. But for the most part, absolute lowest would be 60s, and that would definitely be a bear market.
Yeah. So do you think we'll be seeing Bitcoin at under $60,000 if we do enter this bear market?
No. I think 60,000 would be like the bottom of a bear market.
The bottom. Interesting. Interesting. I think I don't know. I feel a little bit hopeful, right? And I'm going to share my screen here with you guys. I think there's still a possibility that this is not over with. But keep in mind there is a higher chance that this is over with. But as I mentioned, I'm being hopeful that it's not the situation. What can you see on my screen, by the way? It says share this window. No, that is not the window I want to share. Let me do it again. It's crazy how once you switch over to MacBooks, it's literally a whole entire new system. Allow to share.
Welcome to the good side of the force.
Oh no, this is not what I want to share. I think that's the wrong thing to share. Okay, share. Let me try one more time, but I'm just gonna have you run the screen sharing. Allow window. Let's see. Okay. Oh, okay. Nice. Learn something new every day.
There you go.
All righty. So let's go ahead and take a look at what's going on with the market. So one thing I have identified that there's a possibility in this. I think this is one of the main reasons why everyone's a little bit in a panic, is that I did see this possibility of this head and shoulders pattern forming right here. We're all waiting for this rally right here to rebound. We were talking a little bit about this with Joe last night on Let's Talk Crypto, that if we do go ahead and see Bitcoin, resistance is strong at 107, meaning that this is where the last shoulder will be created before, if we are in this bear market, before heading downward even lower, which I think personally, I think that the lowest we could really see if this is the bottom is like $50,000. I don't think we'll see anything lower than that. So we're about almost the same. You say 60, I say 50.
Yeah.
That's not too bad. It's about a $10,000 difference. Of course, $50,000 Bitcoin would be amazing. But given that I just said, there's what I'm really thinking, and this is what I'm hoping that we of course see, is I'm really hoping that we see a move very similar to, which I'll show you guys right now, is I'm really hoping we see a move like this. Look, and this move right here is going to be where, if we are in this bull run and we're not in a bear market still, I mean, keep in mind, there's more signs that we could be entering a bear market, but it hasn't been confirmed whether we're in a bull or a bear yet. But there is more negativity. But one thing I always want to point out too, and we've talked about this also in the past, if you remember, Tristan, we were talking about this back in around April, and I'm going to show something real quick to the audience, is that typically when the market is very uncertain, we start to see this kind of panic that everyone starts to react to, right? Kind of like what we're seeing right now. But what we saw back here actually at around, what was it, April right here, if you remember, when Bitcoin was at $70,000, we were talking about this inverse head and shoulders pattern and how there's a possibility we'd see Bitcoin run up from $70,000 to over 100K. And it actually happened in less than a month. Right. So it happened very, very quickly. Very similar move we saw here back in September of 2024. Same thing. Bottomed, ran up, made new all-time highs. Same thing like we saw back over here, and then same thing we saw back in 2021. So Bitcoin has this tendency to correct aggressively, people panic, and then just see this major reversal come in. And that is mostly due to the fact that you have a lot of shorts getting liquidated, retail chasing the pump, thinking that we're going to the moon, and essentially it does go to the moon because of that. But as we see right here for Bitcoin, I think there's still a possibility, and I'm hoping this is the possibility if we do start to show signs of bullishness and positiveness into the market, which we haven't yet, but if we do, that would indicate that we would have to break above the strong area of resistance, which is around, as we could identify right here, is between that 105, 107. And I believe Han went ahead and mentioned 103 and 105 in the last market update, not this one, but the one prior, if I'm not mistaken, right? He said that was like one of the zones where he's looking to ladder out slowly out of Bitcoin.
Yes, exactly.
And if we do see this breakout happen, which of course we need a confirmation, we need to go ahead and see it hold above it. But there's a possibility we could go ahead and see that new all-time high being created if we are in a bull market. And if we are, I don't think there's much room left for Bitcoin and the rest of the digital asset realm. It's either we are in a bear market right now, or we're probably like 6 months to a year away from actually entering a bear market, which I'm hoping this is the case, because if this is the case, we'd be seeing a move where, as I mentioned, we see Bitcoin make new all-time highs. That could be like 150, maybe even that $200,000 range that people are talking about. But if it is between this 150 or that 200,000, let's say this is essentially, the top. If we do have those major corrections that we do see in Bitcoin, the bottom essentially will be that $65,000. Which is pretty interesting, because you mentioned the bottom being around 60,000. I mentioned 50,000. So we're not too far out. And
we're not too far.
Yeah, we're not too far out, right? Both scenarios, think about it. Both scenarios are pretty spot on, right? And I do think that if we were to go ahead and see that upward momentum coming in back in the market, we would see some sort of movement like this where, it breaks through, everyone's excited, everyone's talking about, oh, Bitcoin's going to $200,000. Bitcoin breaks through 130, everyone's excited, and it can really only push to 150. And this is where everyone's like, buy, this is the buying opportunity of a lifetime. Bitcoin's going to $1 million. And by then, this could be a possibility where retail all comes in, and all of us, like you guys watching here, the audience, myself, Tristan, rest of DM, we're all taking profits. Why? Because we were in early on, but we are also aware that we can get influenced by this kind of behavior in the market, because usually once we start to see this positive behavior, it's usually the top. I mean, we saw it back over here, we saw it back over here, and we saw it back over here. So usually when the market is to the moon, it's usually the top of the market. Usually when everyone's panicking in the market, it's usually a bottom in the market. Now, this time could be different. Keep in mind, I'm not making assumptions. I'm not saying that we are going to the moon and we're going to hit 150. But I personally believe, I don't think this is the end of the bull run. Like, there's no way this is the end. If this is the end, that sucks, because that was a very terrible ending to the bull run, to be completely honest with you. Like, this is like one of the worst bull run endings ever. Like, usually, like the typical bull run endings that you see is you see all this excitement, euphoria come in, and then you just see basically like institutions just pull the rug underneath everyone, and you just see like a 60% crash. And everyone's like, I'm never going to touch digital assets ever again. And that's usually, I feel like this is just not enough pain in the market, in my opinion. I feel like this is just not enough. I feel personally like they haven't actually really brought in a lot of retail just yet. But if we were to see this kind of movement, guess what kind of headlines we would be hearing? Well, Bitcoin went from $80,000 to 120, $30,000 in less than 2 months. This is your time to buy, right? Essentially, top is in. So I think personally, there's still a possibility we might have one last leg up. But if we don't, I want you guys to also keep in mind, as I was mentioning on one of my office hours, is that this could also be a position for a bull trap, where people think that this is going to happen, and then what ends up actually happening is that they trap all the bulls here thinking it's going to go higher, and then bear market is in, which take a look at this. This is practically building a head and shoulders pattern. So just be on the
Mhm.
lookout for that. Don't rely on your favorite influencer on YouTube. They're lying to you. They just want to make money off of you coming back to their channel and clicking on views. And that's why, you need a community like Decentralized Masters where our opinions are, I would say, almost facts basically, because we're going to keep it real, whether it's positive, whether it's bearishness. We're going to go ahead and let you know things are looking good in the market, things are looking bad, and we're not really going to have a filter bias towards feeling some sort of way. And the reason being is because there's money to be made in both markets. There's money to be made in the bear market, and there's money to be made in the bull market. Now, one different thing is the strategies are different. And I'm going to have Tristan talk about the kind of strategies that could be implemented during a bear market. If we are in this bear market, what kind of strategies are you looking to implement?
Yeah. So, for example, that's a great analysis, by the way, John. I'm definitely on the same side. I think for me though, when I see the top, it's I use XRP as my canary in the coal mine. When I hear the XRP maxi saying $100 XRP by Christmas, I am out. I am out of the market, and I move to my defensive strategies. And one of those strategies, we'll talk about them in an order of complexity, starting from the least complex. I know a lot of crypto influencers who I do trust, so there are some trustworthy ones out there. A lot of them that I do trust have moved a large portion of their funds to stablecoins. A large portion of that crypto portfolio, even mine, has been moved to stablecoins. At the moment, I'm about 50% stablecoins in my portfolio. I have reduced volatility to very minimal. So my portfolio isn't bouncing crazy, making crazy numbers at the moment. And that's because I moved largely to stablecoins about a month ago, just because I was getting top signals in the market. With stablecoins, though, it's not like I'm just holding $1 and it's doing nothing with it. That stablecoin I'm putting to work. So I'm out there getting yield opportunities. I'm using stable liquidity pools. I'm looking at stable coins that come with built-in yield, like a USDY from Ondo, for example. So I'm out there. I'm looking at kind of market risk-free opportunities where I can still gain some sort of yield on the assets that I hold. So that is one strategy. That is the most basic one. It's very simple. Well, maybe it's not too difficult to get into liquidity pools at Decentralized Masters. So we will teach you how to use stablecoin liquidity pools and how to balance your portfolio. So I am, of course, very happy to teach anyone that. But another strategy that you can use in a potential bear market year is shorting. So, for example, if people are calling for $100 XRP by Christmas, and XRP is looking a little too high on the charts, or it's all-time highs, and things are very inflated. Well, of course, you can look at there's some important technicals to look at as well, but you can look at sentiment. That's when I would take a short. Then that means when you short, you're actually making money when something goes down, or the value of your position is going up when the value of the asset, in this case XRP or Bitcoin or whatever, is going down. You can do this very simply in crypto using one of the many perpetual exchanges out there, Hyperliquid, I guess, being the most popular one. So that is a little bit more technical. You're following the charts. You're being more active. You could say that's almost like trading. So that is the other way that you can make money in a bear market. There's also new projects that pop up all the time still. So in this case, they're like TGE events, airdrops. Those are some ways that you can still make some good gains in a bear market. I know, for example, a lot of people made a lot of money on the Hyperliquid airdrop. And you know what? That was in the middle of the 2022 bear market. And still people did quite well on that. So you can still follow along with new token generation events, TGEs. You can still follow along with airdrops. Airdrops are still a great way to grow your portfolio, even in bear markets. So between going short, stablecoin liquidity pools, TGE events, airdrops. There are so many ways that you can still build your portfolio even in a crypto bear market. And of course, in Decentralized Masters, we teach you how to do all of those. And so I'll throw it back to you, John. What if this is a crypto bear market? Are there any particular strategies that you are going to employ?
Most definitely. I mean, a lot of the ones that you mentioned, but mostly I'll more than likely go ahead and start doing some shorting. That's definitely what I'll think I'll start doing is shorting the market. Mostly being in stable coins. I mean, of course, being a little bit more particular with what's going on with stable coins, but the biggest thing is, and the reason why I mentioned is because the incident with Stream Finance, right? I think that was also a big
Oh,
eye
yeah.
opener for me because I lost some money in there. But right now, I would say the strategies that I'm really going to be looking at is going to be liquidity pools, mostly on like PaxG, because I know gold has been having some pretty good, not only some upside, but also with gold, you won't see 50, 60% retracements, which is really positive. So liquidity pools that are a little bit more on the stable side, stable coin LPs, lending platforms like Harvest. I still like Harvest a lot, and then mostly shorting. But I would say the thing that I'd be the most proactive with would be shorting the market, and most importantly, continue on with my education in crypto because with crypto, you could never stop learning. The moment you stop
True.
learning, I think is the moment you start losing. So in this space, you have to constantly be freshening up your memory with everything that you're doing and learning new platforms and protocols. So actually the bear market is a big opportunity, just that a lot of people just don't see it that way. And it's because usually during the bear market, um, the opportunities are not as usual as they are during a bull market where like anything you buy goes up. In a bear market, you have to be a little bit more particular into how you're getting into things. So I would say one of the biggest things that I would personally be touching on would be shorting the market. That'd be like something that'd be more proactive. Liquidity pools, mostly stablecoin LPs, gold, and then I would be doing some lending. That's what I would be doing personally.
Yeah, exactly. Lending also is a really great way to earn a little bit of yield on your tokens that you're already holding. You could throw staking into that too if you're going to be holding Ethereum or Solana, anything that has staking as well. Those are still going to earn a little bit of yield. Like John was saying, like continuing your education during bear markets is great because you've got a lot more time on your hand. You're not trying to follow the latest trend. All the hype, all the influencers have fallen silent in the middle of the bear market. So there's actually a bit of a calm to things. And in fact, Decentralized Masters itself was built during the last bear market. So there are people who are going to go and seek that education or they're going to make that investment, but they're making that investment in the most important asset of themselves, most important asset of all, which is themselves.
Exactly.
That's some haiku, some haiku there for you.
I agree. I agree. I mean, I get asked all the time, like sometimes from our members, hey John, like, the bear market is coming in. There's not going to be money to be made or opportunities. But one of the biggest things I like to emphasize, as you just mentioned, is the opportunities that we are going to be given are the opportunities of being able to focus on ourselves and continue our education, which is, I think, in my opinion, one of the most important ones.
Yeah, and that I would agree.
Where are you at, Tristan? Why'd you disappear?
Am I still? Well, I'm still. Can you see me?
No, I can't see you. Here, let me remove you and add you to the stage. There you go.
Am
That
I
was
back?
weird. Okay, there you go.
Streamyard. It
Yeah, so
is.
this is the good time. This is a good time to put your head down, double down on yourself. Knowledge is key, like Ty Lopez would say. Knowledge is key. And this is a good time
Didn't
to,
he get busted for something recently?
yeah, he got busted for fraud.
Nice.
Yeah. He was actually one of like I would say one of the mentors that I invested into his programs early on. He has really good content. He has really good content. I think he might have. I hope it was one of those where he might have over leveraged himself and kind of caught himself and didn't know how to read back. But Yeah, not looking too good on that guy, but he has some really good information. I mean, I've bought a lot of his courses early on. As I was mentioning, knowledge is very, very important. And I think most importantly, as you've mentioned, investing in yourself. So always looking for those mentors, always joining those groups, especially in the space of crypto. You have to be very careful who you join. So highly
Mhm.
recommend you guys, if you guys would want to go ahead and check out our community. There is also a free community that we have to offer down below in the description. Make sure to go ahead and check us out, and where you can go ahead and get access to mentors just like myself, Tristan, and I. We can ask any questions, have calls with us, and email us. Yeah, email support. I think it's the most important thing. But most importantly, you want to have a group of people that are knowledgeable and have that access to TAN, right? So you'll be able to have access to TAN by joining our community, and you'll be able to join those monthly sessions that we all have with TAN. So very, very valuable sessions there, I would say.
Absolutely, absolutely. And of course, we have our office hours. So not only are you meeting with your potential mentor, but you also can meet with other members. And community here is great because we all can bounce ideas off each other and figure out what is working, what is not working in the market. If you have anything else, John, I guess we could wrap it up there.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, the last thing I really have to go ahead and cover, the Nasdaq, in my opinion, is looking very positive. I was talking a little bit about this back in, once we saw the market correction happen with the tariffs, we saw the market correct aggressively, and the Nasdaq took a big dip, and then we saw a major reversal, which looks very similar to what we're experiencing right now. So there's hope, guys. Of course, like I mentioned, none of this is financial advice. These are solely our opinions, but we're also going to keep it real and raw and give you both scenarios, the positive scenario, the negative scenario. But I think both scenarios, it's all about mindset, the way you look at things. I think they're both positive. There's still a lot of opportunities to be made. So with that being said, on my end, there's nothing else. Looking forward to talking to all of you next week as well. But yeah, I had a great conversation with you, Tristan, as always.
Yeah, thanks, John. All right. For like again, I'll repeat one more time. If you are interested in joining Decentralized Masters, there is a link in the comments below. Feel free to join and check out the free group. Without further ado, we will call it here. I'll see you guys next week.
Take care, guys.
Bye bye.